What kind of religion begins with the idea that the world doesn't need saving? Many religious traditions start with a heavy assumption: the world is broken and needs saving. In a 6 July 2026 essay, a scholar of Chinese ritual pauses on a tradition built on the exact opposite idea. Daoism assumes the universe is already perfectly balanced. When things go wrong, the goal is never to fix a permanent flaw, but to gently guide life back into its natural rhythm. That quiet shift in perspective completely changes how a culture approaches everything from ancient alchemy to modern street festivals. Written by Michael Naparstek, Associate Teaching Professor, Religious Studies, University of Tennessee, in The Conversation. Narrated for Arva.
Daoism, China's indigenous religion, is one of the country's 5 officially recognized religions today. Practiced by millions of people in China and around the world, Daoism takes on many forms, stretching back from ancient roots to the modern world. It challenges the conventions of how people often define religion. Unlike many other faiths, Daoism does not necessarily center on a deity, though there are many Taoist deities. Nor does it have a unified system of beliefs or follow a singular authoritative doctrine. In fact, followers say the Tao, which literally means the way, cannot be truly explained. Rather, it is often viewed as something like a mysterious, balanced cosmic force. Taoist practices, then, are based on the premise that everything that makes up the world emanates from the Tao. Taoism approaches the world not from the perspective that the world is broken or needs to be saved, but rather that it is naturally balanced. When things go wrong, Taoist, also referred to as Taoist, practice seeks to bring the world back into harmony with the Tao. As a scholar of Taoist ritual, I am interested in the diversity of Taoism's ideas and practices. These include rituals related to cosmic realms, guidance for navigating the challenges of daily life, and even the worship of powerful deities. Many of these practices stretch back thousands of years, offering a window into China's religious and cultural past. The Tao. Early textual sources describe the Tao not in terms of what it is, but rather what it does. The Tao Te Ching, the classic of the way and its power, is the first known text to articulate the Tao as the source of all things. Composed sometime during the 4th century BCE. By the legendary figure Lao Tzu, it states, "The Tao begets the One begets the Two begets the Three begets the 10,000 things." In other words, everything we can see and know can be traced back to the Tao. Intentionally vague and obscure, the Tao Te Ching would go on to inspire various interpretations, ranging from philosophical reflections to how to realize the Tao in everyday practice. Other early texts describe the Tao through illustrative anecdotes. For example, the 4th century BCE author Zhuangzi describes the Tao through often humorous anecdotes. One of the most well-known vignettes asks whether a dozing Zhuangzi dreams that he is a butterfly, or whether he is a butterfly dreaming that he's Zhuangzi. Through deceptively simple illustrations, the book attributed to Zhuangzi, which is also known as the Zhuangzi, artfully raises complicated questions on the relationship between our world and how we know what we think we know what we know. Balancing with the Tao. While Taoism asserts that the world is naturally balanced, it recognizes that sometimes it gets out of order. This is where Taoist practice steps in to help. Taoist practice includes sophisticated rituals and visualization techniques to align one's own body with the rhythms of the world. Practitioners understand their own bodies to be a microcosm of the entire cosmos, based on the idea that everything stems from the same Tao. Taoists believe these practices help their own longevity and also rebalance the world at large through their connection to the Tao. Taoist ideas of alchemy play an important role in this relationship. In general, Taoist alchemy is understood as distilling elements of the world into potent spiritual essences.
Taoist specialized practices aim to recombine those essences, known as Jing, into spiritual potency. In its earliest forms, beginning in the 2nd century BCE, Taoist alchemical practices would mix rare ingredients from the earth to transform them into what they believed to be elixirs of immortality. Subsequent centuries witnessed these practices moving away from physical ingredients, such as rare plants and minerals, to become more focused on visualization techniques. This form of inner alchemy, or neidan, does not use actual ingredients, but rather focuses on distilling the spiritual essences within one's own body to achieve immortality. To do so, practitioners of inner alchemy would call upon new hosts of Taoist deities to aid them in their internal processes. Taoist figures, deities, and masters. There is no single authoritative Taoist collection of deities. Rather, various Taoist traditions have their own preferred deities they revere, based on their own particular histories and practices. Still, some figures appear across pantheons. The three pure ones, known as the San Qing, are understood to be the most pure representation of the Tao. They consist of three figures, including Laozi, who often appear in rituals on painted ritual scrolls as Taoists seated on imperial thrones. These three deities are thought to be personifications of the Tao, who inhabit the highest realms of the Taoist cosmos, far from the dust of day-to-day life. To reach them, Taoists perform rituals to take the long journey all the way to the court of the three pure ones, in order to have an audience and report on the merits of the community.
Some Taoist communities refer to Laozi as Lord Lao Most High, or Taishang Lao Jun. The earliest Taoist community, known as the Celestial Masters, believed that their founder, Zhang Daoling, had made a special contract with the deified Laozi that would protect them through a cataclysmic end of times. As the influence of the Daoism of Celestial Masters spread, Zhang Daoling would also come to be seen as a powerful deity in his own right, often depicted with bulging eyes and wearing a red robe, accompanied by a tiger. One of the most mysterious Taoist deities is the popular perfect warrior, or Zhenwu. Zhenwu's roots stretch back to ancient days as the god of the north, when he was often depicted as a turtle entwined with a snake. Later on, Zhenwu took a human form, often shown wearing robes or armor with long black hair flowing behind him, bare feet, and holding a sword or banner emblazoned with the Big Dipper. By the Ming Dynasty, which ruled from 1368 to 1644, Zhenwu had become the patron deity of the imperial household. Known for his command of ferocious demon-quelling deities, Zhenwu remains a popular deity in Taoist exorcist rituals in places such as Taiwan. Taoism also incorporates many deities from Chinese mythology and other religious traditions, such as Buddhism. Among the most prominent are the popular 8 Immortals, whose wild adventures often culminate with a lesson on the natural order. Other ubiquitous Chinese deities, such as the regal Jade Emperor, the faithful warrior Guan Yu, the wondrous savior Ma Zu, and the demon-quelling Zhang Kui, fill both the popular imagination and the stuff of Taoist ritual. Many of these figures can now be found in movies, books, and even video games, but they have their roots in the rituals and myths of Taoism.
The various forms of Taoism today. Throughout its history, Taoism never lost touch with the local traditions. Local gods and even vengeful ghosts come to be incorporated into Taoist pantheons, where they now serve to keep troublesome spirits from upsetting the community. As a result, Taoism continues to be an integral part of everyday life. In places such as Taiwan, Taoist priests can be seen today conducting rituals at community temples and annual festivals. In mainland China, Taoism continues to be practiced in some of the most important and ancient sites of Chinese culture, such as the 8th century White Cloud Abbey in Beijing. Meanwhile, those outside China remain fascinated by Taoism as well, with new translations of the Tao Te Ching hitting the market every year. As such, Taoism maintains its complex and diverse nature well into the modern era, still striving to bring it all back into balance with the Tao.